Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. As promised in the last video, I'm choosing to dedicate this particular video to the super interesting topic of lighting. This is going to include all the different types of lights that you can use to improve your plant growing hobby, whether or not you're using a greenhouse, a windowsill, or any well lit or poorly lit area in your home. If you're interested in learning about this, stay tuned and keep watching. So I'm going to start off here in the greenhouse. I must preface this by saying it has been cold outside and I did not put my insulation up over my greenhouse as yet. So I literally have some tarp on the top of the roof, which is obscuring the amount of light that I generally have in here. So pardon that. But since we are talking about lighting, this would be an excellent time to actually demonstrate the different types of lights you can use when your circumstance isn't as perfect as it could be, meaning south-facing, warm environment, and sunny. Is that my environment? No siree, Bob. I'm growing in Zone 6, Ohio, where it's often very cloudy, as you can see at the start of this video. So anyway, let's get to it. No further delay. What I've been doing in my hobby since I've been growing since 2000, oh man, when did I start my plant hobby here? I think 2015. Yes, 2015. Originally, I have been a windowsill grower, and what that meant is I used to have my plants on these shelves that you see right here. These are the nice utility shelves that are metal that you can get in your average home improvement store. I chose not to do the plastic ones because they're a bit less stable. And I have a bunch of plants that they get heavy after a while, since I'm also growing them in plastic and the clay outer covering of the pot. I also have a lot of lava rock, so my plants ended up getting rather heavy. Though I have less plants than I have had before, my plants are now bigger, so they're in relatively large pots. This is like a 6-inch pot. Why am I talking about the place where you keep your plants? Well, here's where this is going to be important. These utility shelves that you can get in the home improvement stores happen to be the perfect width and spacing for using LED lights that are in stock most places, and most importantly on Amazon. I'm not affiliated with Amazon, but this is really where I've gotten most of my bargain lighting. I used to actually mount my lighting under each of the shelves. In fact, I don't have any mounted that way right now because these are my plants in the greenhouse. But hopefully I can put a picture on the screenshot of how I used to do it. They'd be up under here for each level on the shelf. Right now, I just have it like this, suspended above the plants. Speaking of lighting, the space between your plant and your light source, try not to keep it any more than 12 inches if you're an indoor grower. Because even though they're Phalaenopsis, they're going to need it. Even though it might be a Cattleya, they're going to need it. And as it stands, I grow orchids, Hoyas, cacti, and some fruit trees, which I'll show you later. So here we have the LED panel here, and I'm going to go over each of them specifically and where you can find it later on in the video. Now this looks pretty bright. It's a 4-paneled LED unit. Let's get up close on it. Oh, no, sorry. This is my 3-panel one. You can see that there. So that's the greenhouse setup with the lighting. I don't have a lot of light in here because this greenhouse is south facing, and so I don't need that much light in here. The plants are definitely still blooming beautifully, even without overhead lighting. This is Vanda Colmari in full beautiful bloom. Here is Vanda Kalihi Beauty. As you can see, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 flowers. Lots of plants in the unideal situation of growing in a cloudy state. They need a little less light than you think, but probably more than your eyes believe. So let's get to the details of the names of these lights. Now, meet test subject number 1. This is Clementine. She is my dwarf clementine tree that I've had now for, my daughter just turned 11, so I've had it for 10 years. This plant is 10 years old. I had it when it was a tiny little twig, and now her trunk is about, my hands are not that big, but, 2.5, 3, maybe 2.5, and you can see it. And this is an adult miniature clementine tree. I used to test on this plant the brightness of each of my units because I've had it for so many years. My test was if I could get this clementine tree to come into bud, bloom, and fruit indoors, then my lighting was good enough to put over my Vandas or my Cattleya orchid. Right now, I happen to have the 4-paneled lighting. This is a utility light that you can get at Home Depot or any of your local home improvement stores as the only light source, in addition to the plant itself literally being next to a south-facing window. My window is not obscured by any ledges outside, but again, this is Ohio. It is always dark for a lot of the time during the year. So this particular lighting, if you're looking for a light that will cover about 5 feet by 5 feet, or a large fruit tree, this is about a 20-inch pot, or your orchid collection in such a square footage, this is a great light to use. That's also the light in the greenhouse. Here we have the LED panels again, suspended from my ceiling in my living room. Not necessarily the most beautiful thing, but I chose to put these guys inside and not in the greenhouse, just in case. These are the Hawaiian plumeria. As you can see, one is actually over here in bloom. That one has stayed in bloom the entire time. This is a mock orange, a clivia, African clivia, and a Hoya, which isn't under any direct lighting. Let's talk about the names of the lights. This is where I started off initially. When I first started growing orchids, I started with the T5 grow light sets. These were these 2 feet by 1 foot panels, all of which actually held these tubular light sets. Now, you might be wondering, why are these on the ground? I don't use them anymore. They use a lot more energy than the LED bulbs. And I did not actually find a benefit to using the T5 versus the LEDs, not even over our test subject Clementine. Here's the HTG T5 Grow Light 2.2. This has 2-panel bulbs. Let me see if I can turn it on. I did not find the light itself to be that bright, and so I discontinued using it. If you're interested in T5s, they are of course on Amazon. They tend to be a whole lot more expensive, as you can see. $129.99. I'm pretty sure you could find others that are less in cost. But I abandoned the T5 idea because there were limitations, in my opinion, as to how I could mount them. And the amount of lighting that they used was not enough for me to justify their cost. Actually, the amount of wattage that they used was not enough for me to justify their cost. And I just found them bulky. But if you're interested, Amazon's your go-to. Now, this was an up-close look of the ones that you can see in use in my house and in my greenhouse. These are way more affordable. Here you can see the particular one that I have in use. This one. right here. They can be connected. See? And most importantly, one of the sets is probably $20. Mine, $23. Mine are actually, when I bought them, they were $17, and they will last you for approximately 4 years before starting to go dim. That's how long I started to notice any changes once I basically could determine that my plants weren't blooming as I desired. So these grow lights usually run on 20 watts of electricity. I'm not going to get technical with you guys. What you need to know is, will your plants bloom, flower, or fruit? Yes, they will, for way less. And you can actually connect them so that you could have a really long panel. Each of the panels, as you can see, this one is the smaller one, and so this panel itself is about 2 feet, and then you can attach them together to get a longer panel. I just put one on each of the top of my shelves like that. Way more affordable. Definitely the better way to go cost wise. Even more affordable options are the Grow Light LED lamp plant bulbs that you can put in these little units right here to direct of course, the direction of your light. These can be found at like Home Depot and all your home improvement stores. I have big ones, I have small ones. This is just a regular LED bulb. These, by the way, work perfect over Cattleyas and Vandas. If the bulb would come out, I would be able to tell you a little bit more, but it won't. Try these LED bulbs that have a 5,000 watt rating on them. They're bright enough. Plants really don't need the power of the sun right above them all the time. So anyway, here's this one. I used this one exclusively over the clementine tree to get it to bloom. This is a 24 watt grow light LED, so you're not running hundreds of watts as compared to the T5s. And here you have it. The cost is pretty great. There are many options, and you definitely need these things to direct the lighting, to plug them in and to hang them above your plants. Let's look at this one in action. Now, if you're like me, you might not enjoy the red and blue spectrum, and this is the reason why I don't tend to use this in an area where there's going to be heavy traffic like the living room. The red and blue lights can be a little jarring. Then there's this guy. Have you ever wondered about this one? The LED grow lights that kind of look like a palm tree. I tried it as well. This one I would only recommend if you're growing Phalaenopsis and lower light plants like African violets. The lighting really wasn't enough to get a citrus tree to bloom, and the Cattleya didn't seem to like it either. It is aesthetically pleasing to look at, however. Wouldn't you agree? See? Pretty cool. So with everything considered, if I had the opportunity to advise which lights to use, I would definitely go for the one that's your most bang for your buck. And it is these LED panels that you can connect. Secondly, I would use the 4-paneled, actually, let me just show you. This guy here, providing 5,000 K of daylight adjacent lighting. It's the 4-panel folding utility light that you can get in the home improvement stores. It is an LED and therefore uses way less energy. With 4,000 lumens, this is as bright as it can get without using those halogen or T5s that cost a lot of money. With just a couple of these, you really could have your setup doing really great. My biggest recommendation would be for these two. If it can fruit Miss Clementine, it's pretty much good for your Cattleya, Vandas, Phalaenopsis, and of course, your cacti too. If this video is interesting to you and you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing or dropping me a like. Thanks for watching. Bye.